Farming nowadays may be a modern world of high technology machinery, and the one-man operation of cutting and threshing the grain crop contrasts sharply with how things were done 50 years ago. For centuries, the sole source of power on the farm was the horse, but towards the end of World War II, when demand for farm produce began to outweigh supply, and with a guaranteed and increasing market, the Irish farmer, having seized this opportunity, required additional horsepower, the tractor. These smoking, growling, temperamental animals were finding a home on many farms throughout the countryside. One of the few working survivors from those harrowing times is this 1939 Fordson, the pride and joy of vintage enthusiasts Tommy Doherty, Michael McNamee and Willie Turner.
When we bought that tractor off Harry Green about 1955. 50 quid. Mm-hmm. We left around Paul's garage in the Ploughing, and it's in £50 to square up. And that was us on the road for around £100.
Mm-hmm. That was the first tractor ever you had?
Oh, what?
No. But the tractor itself's a lot older than that.
The tractor's 39. 1939.
Michael farms on the outskirts of Mahara in mid-Ulster, and this year he is endeavouring to reenact the farming methods of his father in the mid-50s. This field, having been in potatoes last season, is being prepared for a corn crop this year, which formed the rotation potatoes, corn and then grass for 3 or 4 years. This cock-shut plough was manufactured in America. In the past, where most jobs around the farm were labour-intensive, and with money being at a minimum, it was necessary to enlist the assistance of neighbouring farmers and their machinery at times. This gave rise to the word morrowing, which sadly today has almost disappeared. Here, however, with the vintage machinery and the added attraction of the camera, Michael is not short of volunteers. After ploughing, the field will be allowed to dry out for a few days depending on the weather. When the furrows made by the plough are in suitable condition, the next operation is called disking. The top few inches of soil are cultivated in such a manner as to leave them loose and fine. This implement consists of metal rotating discs which can be adjusted to varying angles, enabling shallow or deep seedbed preparation.
Well, in the old days, before you had a tractor, how did you cover the corn?
The horses, the brake and the horse. Sometimes one horse and a one horse brake, other times 2 horses and a 2 horse brake.
The horses never would have pulled that?
Never. Not that ever I seen, no. Well, as I tell you, the first tractor cost 50 quid, and we gave that up among us, but we were short of money when we went to buy the disc. And we went to an auction at McCluskey's up there. Roy Crawford was the auctioneer. And John Joe started a bid on the disc. And I think when she went around £60, he quit back. But Roy Crawford bid away for him, and I think she winded up around 70. And Roy Crawford had put her down to him, and he came home and he told us that he'd bought the disc. And my father went under Roy Crawford and reared up that he hadn't the money to pay for her. And Roy says, "Don't you worry," he says, "I didn't ask you for the money." He says, "Them boys will probably make a price for her." And we headed to the country and made the price for her. That's the way we to now.
So there was no higher purchase on the guys, was there?
No. No.
The field, now well cultivated, is ready for sowing the corn seed, which through the warm spring and summer months will produce the corn crop. This was usually a 2-man operation, a sower and a seed carrier. This implement is a fiddle, so called because of its similarity in arm movement to the musical instrument. Tommy steps out his ground. The mark he makes with his foot is where he will begin his walk to the other end of the field, scattering the seeds evenly as he goes. The white bag will be his guide on his return journey. A sower would have been capable of covering about an acre per hour. But long hours of continuous sowing were quite exhausting, bearing in mind he was carrying a heavy load, and his right arm was keeping up a constant rhythm. A good average day's work would have been 4 or 5 acres. When the sowing has been completed, the seeds must be covered, and at the same time the ground levelled. The disc is once again hooked onto the Fordson, and behind it another implement, the brake. The disc is adjusted to cover the seeds, thereby creating small drills. The brake, however, coming behind levels the drills and leaves the ground fine and smooth. Although the Fordson is now pulling 2 pieces of machinery, the brake is comparatively light and easy to tow. The young corn will be through the ground in 10 days. This shot was taken 3 weeks after sowing, and the field is now a green blanket. Michael decides that it is time to smooth the ground once again, this time using a roller. The disc and brake, which we saw earlier, have done their jobs well, but stones may be sitting on top of the ground which would take the cutting edge of the reaper when the corn is to be harvested. The young corn shoots are bent over and pushed down under the weight of the roller. However, this does not impair their growth, and in a couple of days they will be standing up again. The cornfield will now be left until late August or early September. The corn is now ripe and ready for harvesting. Willie sharpens up the scythe, which around the turn of the century was the sole means of cutting on the small farms. This was again a 2-man operation, 1 man mowing, the other lifting the corn and tying it into sheaves.
A good man myself, tell me what we laid on today.
An acre.
Maybe. But I'm in a good day's work.
I don't know if I could cut an acre of corn or not, but
You've been here.
the acre of grass, it was a damn good day's mow my side. Man, it was.
How many tires would he need?
Just the one. Oh, just the one.
Later on, with the emergence of the horse or tractor-pulled reaper, the scythe was only used to open the field. This meant cutting an opening around the outside and leaving about 5 metres of clean ground at each corner. The reason for this process was so that the tractor and reaper wheels would not damage the precious ears of corn. A giant step forward from the scythe was the introduction of the reaping machine. This revolutionary farm implement began to appear around the Mahara area about the early 40s. It is believed that the first ever reaper was invented in 1828 by a Scotsman, the Reverend Patrick Bell. This strange-looking model had the horses pushing rather than pulling.
How many tires would you need to hand you there, Tom?
Well, you could have kept any amount going there. Any amount. 8 or 10, you'd need 8 or 10.
Would you?
Oh, aye, to keep a tractor going at all.
And if you didn't make somebody, you could let them a good big dusty.
Well, that's what happened.
Doesn't look very safe, doesn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's...
There's usually a lug on the inside of the seat there. Comes up the inside of your leg. Keeps you firm on the secure on the seat.
Mm-hmm.
The sight of this piece of man-made miracle must have been a dream come true for the scythe operator, who was now able to exchange his long day of back-breaking labour for a seat. And just as the tractor had replaced horsepower, the reaper was slowly but surely beginning to replace manpower. Time, which had stood still for centuries, was now moving in leaps and bounds. And in 1955, Tommy acquired his first binder, a machine which not only cut the corn, but had an inbuilt ingenious method of tying the sheaves as well. The first recorded use of a binder, which was invented and first used in America, was as far back as 1880. That particular invention used wire to tie the sheaves. However, farmers found that the wire was not only damaging to their machinery, but to their cattle as well. So the McCormick Company perfected a similar sheaf tying mechanism, this time using twine, which is being used here today. The corn is cut, transported along a canvas belt, through the tire and kicked out in straight rows. Each sheaf is the same size and thickness.
I suppose it was just an updated version of the reaper. So, I mean,
And the tying end put on top.
but the great invention was the tying of the sheaf and the nutters.
The canvas is what to take it up.
I was doing 8 men at work there, Tom.
Oh, easy. Oh, that was a good invention.
But then not all corns had to be binded either. The corn had to be ripe for it.
And if she got too ripe, then got
If she was too ripe, that she wouldn't bind it too well. Too close to the ground. 30 years since that machine worked, maybe. That's right, that machine belongs to an uncle of mine, McLagan there at Money Sheridan outside Mahara. Yeah, restored the last time he restored years ago, but he's the sort of fellow when he puts any machine away, he's covered in burnt oil and stuff like this. And we took her out. We took a chance, made no adjustment whatsoever to her. As you can see, the only time she didn't tie a sheep was when she ran out of string. It wasn't the fault of the machine,
No.
the fault of the operative.
She went perfect the first time.
Oh, she went perfect, yeah. Yes.
What cost in those days? Ploughing.
New binder. We don't
See
get
a
guess.
5-foot cut or a 6-foot cut?
£100.
I think it's 5.
5.
And you talk about £100, tell me that binder, there's 3 canvases on her and I needed 1. And the price of the new canvas was going to cost me £100 plus the VAT.
Tommy, you said you had a couple of those from the clusters. Plenty of work.
Plenty of work. We had one of them there and we had a pair there. I got seasons around khaki but we had the 2 going most of the time.
So obviously there weren't too many of them on the country.
Yeah.
Tommy, say if you'd have bought a tractor and a binder there, how long would it have been before you had your investment back?
It's hard to say now, it'll take a good wee while. But that's most of the way we get up the tools. We bought the tractor and rotten fitted till you got a bid for, and then you bought the implement and you went to the country and you made the price of it. And when you that done, you went and bought someone else.
Another example of progress. The sheaves of corn, now lying in rows, must be put into stooks. A stook is a group of 3 sheaves, set upright and tied with a band of corn around the top. This allows the wind to blow through the stalks of corn and dry them out completely and allow the corn to ripen, although this corn is fairly well ripened. Towards the bottom of the stook there is quite a lot of young grass which has been growing along with the corn. In good weather conditions, the corn will sit on the stook for about 10 days. Then it must be built into a hut. Tommy Doherty explains the hutting, which was again a 2-man operation.
Well, just start with a stook. Sit on the stook and you go from there. Then you turn the sheaf according to the way they're sitting on the ground. You mostly turn it to sort of shapes the hut. You can build them big or wee.
You're always keeping the heads on, I know, obviously to keep it dry.
Depends a bit on the size of the corn, what size you make the hut too. But we're only getting into the way of it there now. It's a long time from we hut it to now, so.
It was floating away, Tommy, till you run the water. Obviously I can see the way you're shaping it.
Surely. So if that hut's right put up and a bit of thatch put on the top, it could sit there for 2 months. I always like them old heads pulled off and stuck on the strap. They're very hateful scattered about the field.
Have it tidy way again.
Mostly the man that carried into eating the head off. Don't see this fella taking so many off at all.
It's a good sign of a frame when he's putting your corn has still on the stick.
Obviously, Tommy, like everything else in the old days, there was a lot of pride taken in even building a hut.
You had to. You had to do it sort of right now. There'd be a boy above you give you an awful talent if you didn't. I used to set them up in nice rows in the field and all. And they had to be hutted. One right nest were hutted too.
But surely, Tommy, that corn on the top there, now if it rains, that'll get wet.
No, we'll take a stick now and we'll take 3 sheaves out of it, according to the size of the sheaves. We'll take 3 sheaves out of it there and we'll turn them into position and tie the hud. That's the band up there I'm after putting on. always thought that was a hell of a lot better than an ordinary one. You need to get her tied up nice and tight at the top there for putting on the hood. And to finish her right, you would have to put a wee notch of thatch on her, but that's here to run a lot of the rain as it does.
You're turning her inside out there.
And no, you just turn the point of the sheaf so as to lie right. We'll tie her twice on the top here and it'll tighten in the corn and it'll kill a lot of the water. We get this through over and horse shake around at night. It does away with a lot of the storm getting at.
Tie one yet type of model 62. Ah? You can tie one yet and have 62 years of age. Not a hair left ahead of. You nice? Huh?
This is the handiest way to put on the hood now. Just sling her across it and tease her right round her. See that there, run a lot of water off that.
And I suppose even that wee bit in the top, whenever that'll dry again pretty quickly.
Oh aye, but if you want to do the job 100%, you would get a notch of thatch, rush it, and tie it down and set it over that. And that would be her complete.
So could I still got all winter?
Now it could stay a long time that way, but I wouldn't like to leave it all winter, for the varmin would tackle it. The birds would start to get unnerved. So it could stay that way a good wee while.
So what you do then after this is you build a stack?
That's right. Just let her sit there now till people gets time to put her in a stack. Fairly dries the butts whenever she's sitting like that.
How long would you leave her like that?
Well, she's safe now. So you could live her like that 3 weeks, or you could live her like that 6 weeks. Just to find that you have time to get her into the stack.